Hey everybody, good morning. It's Wes Eiler here with Preserve Navarre. It is Wednesday, October 16th, and just catching up with everybody after the straw vote, and just wanted to talk about that for a minute. It was a beautiful day weather-wise if you were out and about. And the first thing I wanted to say was just thank you to everybody who participated. There was over 2,000 people who came out and voted. And I love that. I mean, that's what our country is all about, is people getting out and voting and getting involved. And so thank you, whether you were for it or against it. Thank you for voting, for participating in this straw poll. It took a lot of work to make that happen. That company cost $17,000 to be able to come out and set up shop. But in terms of the in-person voting day, I thought they did a really good job. There was a huge line at St. Sylvester, and we were out like getting people water and stuff while they were standing outside. So a whole lot of people came out and voted, especially there. So thank you for putting up with the line and taking the time for your vote to count. With the mail-in system, there was definitely some issues with that, and I heard it from both sides. I had people who were members of our group who were pro, and they were like, "Why is my ballot taking so long?" And then I had people who were against, commenting on the page, "Where's my ballot?" It's hard to tell, is that because of the mail service? When the company says they sent the ballots, I believed them, right? But then getting those things back took a long time to get those ballots back. So that's something that we learned. If this ever were to happen again, I think you give it more time for people to do the absentee process. But that being said, the in-person turnout was pretty strong and pretty clear. The results came in, and I think it was right at like 42% were in favor of it and 58% were against it. So that to me is pretty clear. It's outside the margin of error. It gives us, what I think is a pretty accurate gauge of where the citizens of Navarre are at. And as I've always said, we're going to listen to them. I'm just excited that we had this chance to speak because the county didn't want it to happen. The knowing people didn't want it to happen, and we finally got to that point where it did happen. And I think that's great. And I want to talk for a minute about why we did this, why we wanted this vote, and why we felt it was the right time. And a big reason was because we really felt like we had the information out there. When I first started looking into this issue about 3 or 4 years ago, there was a wide range of belief, right? Some people thought that a city was going to be free and not cost anything, and that you could get a city for no property tax at all. And then some people thought it was going to be like 8 or 9 mills and just destroy everything and everyone, right? And I thought, along with a lot of other people, that there's a better way to do this. Is we really need to square with the people and communicate the costs and the benefits of this, so that they can have a really clear look when they vote. And we worked for several years, and we came to right around a 1 mil rate, just under a 1 mil rate, which costs you about $33 a month in total, and that's charged every year out of your property taxes. And that's a cost. I mean, I get it. Like, there's a lot of people who get frustrated at the idea of paying anything more for anything, especially with inflation and how much stuff costs today. And so there was frustration with that. But I feel like we owed it to the people to say, look, it is going to cost you something, in your property taxes. And then people said, okay, if it's going to cost me more, people are paying more in their HOAs to take care of streets and drainage to the extent that they can. The county's trying to raise your taxes right now with sales taxes. FP&L, the water system, they've all raised rates several times in the past couple of years. So people are paying a lot more for a lot of things. And so the question came back, what am I going to get from it? And we worked hard to communicate those benefits. Here's what Gulf Breeze is doing with their money. Here's how they're getting grants. Here's what Milton is doing. Here's what Jay is doing. And there was a lot of rumors and things that came up, a lot of different opinions. One of them was about Destin. And people said, oh, if you incorporate, you're going to become like Destin. And so we worked, and we had a panel, and we had people from Destin come out. And they said, actually, incorporation is what's given us our town back. We wish we had incorporated earlier. They took them 7 times to incorporate in Destin, and they said a lot of their growth came from being unincorporated, and they wish they had done it sooner so that they could get their town back. And now that they have a town, we had Bobby Wagner out there explaining exactly how he was starting to give power back to the locals. So I feel like that information was out. People talked about Mary Esther. Well, Mary Esther's trying to dissolve and doesn't want a city. We had Bobby O'Dare come out, and he said, actually, Mary Esther wants to keep its city. The citizens voted and elected me and several others to hold on to the city because they realized without a city, they were going to lose a lot of their voice. So he talked about that. We talked a lot about the benefits of having a voice and why that's important and how much better that would be than having 5 county commissioners who don't live here. We had Stephanie Lindsay came on, who was a project manager from Gulf Breeze, and she talked about working in the city and what city staff do and the benefit that they bring. A lot of that information was out. The feasibility study that we did, I'm so proud of, because we put that together as a grassroots effort using the previous one, built off of that, and then people said, okay, well, you and your ragtag team put this together. Is it really official? Is it really professional? And so we paid for a consultant who came back and had a couple things, but overall said, yeah, no, this is great. We filed it with the state. They've been looking at it, said it was pretty solid. So that was out there. The charter was out there. And then, of course, you have the anti-side making their case saying, hey, you don't want to pay more for anything. Hey, paying more in taxes is a waste. All government sucks. None of it does anything for you ever. That was kind of their argument that was out there. And you saw Romy out there waving signs and things like that, scaring people, saying, oh gosh, like this is a terrible decision. Dave Peach, I've heard, was out there saying, cities are terrible. They're all terrible. This sucks. Like, don't do it. And so people got to choose, right? Like they got to choose. Do we want to go and have a city that we pay $1 million for that gives us a local voice, or do we want to stay under the county and let them, make our decisions for us with their zoning boards and teams and stuff like that? And they chose the second option. They said, we're going to stay with the county. We're going to stay here. We don't want to have self-government in a city. And so for me, that's all I need. That's what I need to know is, my group and I and our team, we're not going to force the city down people's throats. We're not going to pressure any state rep to take a bill forward or anything like that if the people don't want it. Because the only way that government should ever happen is if it's in the people's will. We want leaders who follow the people's will, who work on behalf of service and who are principled and who take the time to hear people. And so I have 42% of people who participated in that poll, who were excited and who wanted a city. And to those folks, I would say, thanks. I really appreciate all the money and time and effort you put into this. And talk to your neighbors. Talk to your neighbors about this, of, why you supported it. Help them understand your reasons. And for the anti folks, I appreciate y'all turning out too and making your voice heard. That's how we get this settled. They turned out and they were the majority. And so they win this. And so, cool. If there's more of you guys than there is of us, then we listen to you. And so we listen to them. And, until there's some type of big change or whatever, that's going to be the majority, as it was in 2014. And so that's something I'm going to listen to. My team is going to listen to. And so now I have people asking me, well, what's Preserve Navarre going to focus on without incorporation? Well, you may not know. We have been active trying to hold the county accountable, putting out good ideas and studying research of what works in a lot of ways, not just incorporation. We've been that way from the beginning. We're also a charity. We have been doing charitable efforts from the very beginning, promoting local businesses, promoting leaders, and showing our love for Navarre. And I've always said we love Navarre whether it's incorporated or not. This is our home. We're neighbors. And so we got lots to do. In terms of charity work, we've got a whole list of projects that I can't wait to get after. We're going to get as many grants as we can with our group. Obviously, we've got retirees and part-timers. I got to go to work in a minute. A lot of our people work. So in the time that we have, we devote it to charity. And then at the same time, we devote it to accountability. We'll still call it out. We see a lot of waste in the current system. We see a lot of folks, frankly, getting screwed over by the way the system is set up. And so when there's ways for us to get involved and to help with that, we'll point it out. So if you're interested in getting involved with the group, we're still doing membership. We're still going to be a force for good in this community. But always, always, folks, we listen to you. We listen to the people. We love this community. We listen to this community, and we're happy to serve it. So again, thanks for getting involved. Thanks for voting. Thanks for showing up. We love you guys, whether you're pro or anti, whether we disagree or whether we agree. It's all about Navarre. It's all about the place that we live and making it a community that's better for all of us. So thank y'all so much. Y'all have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. And when I see you out and about in Navarre, feel free to say hi, and we'll talk about all this stuff some more. All right, take care.